Hey everybody, welcome back to the Weekly Reload. I hope you're all having a wonderful Friday, and I hope I can make it just a little bit better. Let's start off today by asking, do you guys like the new thumbnail? I didn't really like the old one. It didn't really have anything, unique about it, I guess. I hope the new one is good. I wanted to just make it so the character on the thumbnail was the one that I'm playing for, every run or every video. Uh, so let me know if you guys like that one. Today's a pretty big day. We have two viewer submitted letters, and I'll tell you what, I was like a kid on Christmas when when I saw this first one. I was a kid on Christmas who saw a suspiciously bike-shaped present, and I was just over the moon. Uh, but yeah, let's start it. Let's start reading it. Hello, Mr. Reload. I hope this email finds you well. I saw your high school video today, and it really related with me as I'm currently a sophomore in high school. Although school let out for the summer where I am, I do have to say your messages in that nice Under the Gungeon video really helped and spoke to me personally. I haven't had the greatest luck in making friends, mostly due to anxiety, but I really liked your emphasis on making friends at high school, showing me how important it is. I was wondering, do you have any advice for making friends in high school? Keep in mind, I've been homeschooled all my life and have negative friend making skills and 10 plus gears. Uh, when school let out this year and most of the people I respected graduated before I ever got to introduce myself, I felt so depressed and defeated. Like if I wasn't such a socially awkward guy, I might have even been able to tell them I liked them. I don't want that to happen again. I feel it would be good to make friends, but just can't find the courage to start. Sorry if this email is all over the place or unreadable, but I feel some graduate experience is what I need. Love your vid, man. Keep up the good work. Wow, man. Thank you very much for submitting that, first of all. And I understand what you mean, man. It's hard to find friends in school, and it's even harder to put yourself out there to find them and actually talk to people. Um, so one of the things I would suggest is, and this is a pretty big piece of advice I was given, but I was too scared and nervous to even, begin to consider it. Join a club. A lot of schools nowadays have clubs for just about anything. Extracurriculars. If you like physical activities, you could do soccer. There's probably a tennis club. Uh, any of that. Um, you can join clubs. There's a lot of chess clubs. In my school, personally, there was a chess club, a D&D club, an esports club, even, which I wanted to join, but I was too scared to, and also I'm not that good at games. Um, but there's a lot of places in school you can go to make friends. Even just elective classes, like arts and there's like Photoshop, all that sort of stuff. A lot of people there are there for the same reason, to learn how to do art and all that sort of good stuff. And those are people you can relate to if you enjoy that sort of stuff. You got to find people you relate to. I remember when I made friends in North Dakota. Uh, I was at my locker one day and I was putting my stuff away when I overheard the people to my right talking about Don't Starve Together, which is a video game that I like to play quite often. And I kind of just butted into their conversation. I was like, "Whoa, you guys like Don't Starve Together? I like that too." And we talked for maybe 10 seconds and then didn't talk again for maybe a week. Um, but after that week, suddenly, I was talking to them more at the locker, and they were talking to me more at the locker. Suddenly, next thing I know, I'm talking to them in the middle of class, outside of class. My school let us walk around the town during lunch because it was a really small place. So a lot of the time, we just walked around the school. Um, it's just, you got to take that step. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to just talk to people. Get nervous. That's fine, but you can't let the nervousness control you. Being nervous is just part of who we are as people, right? You can't always, unless you're just born with maxed out uh, courage. You're gonna get nervous about stuff, and it's totally fine to get nervous about talking to new people because you want to look good in front of them, and you want them to see you for who you are and not just for who the nervousness makes you look like. But you just gotta take that step, and maybe join a club. And if you turn out anything like me, and this is way further in your high school life, this is like after you graduate type of stuff. It's never too late to make friends in life. I know last episode I said high school is one of the most important times in your life to make friends, and that is true. However, you can also make friends in college. Now, I don't know if you're planning on college, but if you do go to college, you're gonna make friends there. Like, I feel like it's almost unavoidable to make at least one friend while you're in college. I've heard so many good stories about college that it makes me, sad that I didn't go. Honestly, I think I'm still on the fence about it. I took a gap year, but I just don't think school's right for me personally. Um, but it's never too late. Even if you don't go to college as well, you can just go into a job. If you decide to go from high school to a job, you can make a lot of friends there. I didn't have a job after I graduated high school. I've been living like a like a I guess I don't want to say bum. It's a bit mean, but I've been living, just unemployed, non-educated, or non in education. I guess I'm a NEETs is what you would call me. Uh, but when I did have a job, it was actually during my senior year, uh, and I actually met a lot of people there. Now I worked in produce in a grocery department, and it was pretty tight knit. It was a Walmart. I'll say that much. But basically, there was about four of us that got hired at the same time, and those four people I became really good friends with. And even some of the people who were in that department before I got there, I also became friends with. Right? I saw people leave, I saw people join, um, and there were a couple people who stayed throughout the whole thing, and I'm grateful to them. Really, there's one guy in a different department but close that I talked to a lot. OGP, it was encroaching on our grocery territory. They were encroaching on our domain. No, but they were nearby, and I know the head of that department of OGP, which is like a grocery delivery department. Um, I like talking to him. He was funny, and one of the people in the meat department, which is part of my job, meat and produce. I didn't really do meat that much. I was mainly a produce guy. But one of the people in the meat department was also a very very good guy, and honestly, it's a very invaluable experience for me. I still talk to a lot of these people. Um, I'm really glad I met them. Uh, you just gotta find something where people are around you more often. I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's my advice. Put yourself out there, act more confident, even if you're not. And just try your best, man. And I hope everything works out for you. Also, happy summer. Have a good summer. So for the next episode, next episode, for the next thing, we have another letter. I'm gonna change it up a little bit just because it's, no offense to the person who submitted it. It's a bit weirder in the wording. Um, After seeing your video, I thought of a sole question that would be nice to hear some advice about. So my question is, what do you think makes somebody good or bad? Now, I want to make this very clear before I even start to talk about this subject. I'm no arbiter of justice. For myself, I would classify as in the middle of a good or bad person. I'm not either. I'm just kind of a person who exists and tries to do right by others, but I don't think that makes me a good person. Um, I don't think it takes much to be a good person. What I think it takes to be a good person is having a level of respect for everyone you meet, regardless of how they look, how they sound, um, regardless of how they act, if they're eccentric or if they're shy, if they're anxious. I think being a good person is just accepting everybody for who they are, and trying to keep every conversation you have as respectful as possible. I'm not saying you hanging out with your friends can't make stupid jokes. Like my friend and I on Instagram sometimes will. That's not to say you can't joke around though, of course. Like everybody makes weird, messed up jokes with their friends. I feel like it's kind of just a thing, being a younger person nowadays. Um, making jokes, obviously, as long as it's not directed at a person who you don't know, I think it's perfectly fine. Um, but yeah, being good, it's not a hard thing to accomplish. Being bad is also not a hard thing to accomplish. I remember seeing a lot of clips or videos of a guy called Johnny Somali, and in my eyes, that's a pretty good example of a bad person. Like, he just goes to other countries and is a nuisance. And right now, I don't really know what's going on with him. I don't keep up with that stuff too much, but I think he's facing prison time. I don't know if he's gonna actually get it or not. Uh, I'm not gonna say whether he should get it or not. 'Cause at the end of the day, I don't really keep up with that stuff too much. I don't really care that much. Um, I feel bad for anybody who, you know, had to sit through stuff that he has done. I guess like people who he's hurt in real life. I feel bad for those people. Um, you know, in my mind, somebody who is bad is somebody who just disturbs the peace. Persona reference. Sorry, but somebody who just disrupts other people, right? Like, if I'm sipping a nice tea in a cafe that I'm treating myself to, and somebody comes up to me and takes my drink out of my hand and gulps it down in one drink, I'm gonna be pretty pissed off, right? That's gonna ruin my day. If I'm treating myself to something that I enjoy, and somebody else just comes there and destroys it because they're trying to record, or just because that's how they are as a person, I think that's pretty bad. I think that makes you a bad person. Of course, like I said at the beginning, I'm no arbiter of justice. I can't really tell you if you're a bad person or a good person. But I think if you classify yourself as a bad person, just stop doing that, man. Like, change yourself. Yeah, you don't really have to change yourself ever unless you think you're a bad person. In which case, you should do something for yourself, and it'll make people want to hang out with you that much more, right? That's what I feel like. That's my opinion on being good or a bad person. It's not some electric takes. It's more of a dumbed down take. Um, but yeah, my next question was somebody in the comments of the last video. They asked me what my personal philosophy is. Now, I actually had to research this, and a personal philosophy is a set of rules or guides that you follow in your day to day, and they just kind of shape how you go about, thinking about life and how you act in life. For me, my personal philosophy, and I'm gonna word this really strangely because I don't really know how to put it into words, but it's to do right by others while staying true to yourself. And by that I mean showing everybody a level of respect and dignity that you would want people to show you. Um, and by staying true to yourself, I mean not really, I suppose, sacrificing everything to make everybody around you happy, right? Like, there's some things you just can and can't do for other people. Um, but I like to hold myself by by a standard where I'll try to do everything I can. I never want to abandon somebody. I always want to try to help. Um, but staying true to yourself as well. It's not just like not sacrificing for other people. It's keeping yourself real in the conversation, I suppose. Like, making sure that you're not putting on an act. Uh, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of us in public, when we're in public, put on this mask and try to act like a different person because maybe we don't like who we are, or just wish we could be a different one or a different person. Uh, but I don't know if that's quite the right thing to do. Obviously, I gave a piece of advice just a second ago a bit about saying, uh, act confident even if you're not confident. Um, and maybe I sound like a hypocrite now, but just be yourself as well. Like, I don't think acting confident is putting on a mask. I think changing up your whole personality when you're in public, just because you don't want people to know the real you, is definitely different. Um, don't try to hide things from people. It'll just make them think you're not really who you say you are, and for good reason. I mean, you're not if you are putting on a super big mask, right? Uh, but that's like kind of my thing, my personal philosophy. I don't know if I explained it that well. Let me know and let me know in the comments if you think uh, that take was just kind of stupid, maybe. Um, Another thing about respect, I know I've talked about that a lot today. It's I think life is too short to spend every day angry at somebody or something. There's no real reason to get mad at a person for something they did, right? You can only ever just move forward, right? You can't undo things that people do that you don't like, um, and you just gotta roll with the punches sometimes. Obviously, if they're disrespecting you and getting physical with you, it's a different story, right? You got to defend yourself, make sure you're staying safe, but just don't get angry at people for huge nothing burger situations, right? Like if you are, I guess, spilling water on the sidewalk, I'm not gonna come up to you and be like, "Hey, man, that's damaging the property." I'm gonna be like, "What's that guy doing? That's strange," you know. Or if you're standing on something, I'm not gonna come up to you, right? Unless you're like hurting somebody else, or hurting an animal, maybe. Well, definitely, if you're hurting an animal, I mean, you're just messed up in the head, right? But yeah. So moving on to the last thing, uh, question of the week. I mentioned doing this yesterday, and I did a question of the week where I said, "What's your favorite ice cream flavor?" And I don't think anybody really realized because I was just talking about implementing it. Um, but here's this question, the question of the week for today. I don't think I'm good enough to say a take like what makes you good or bad. So I'd like to hear your guys' opinion. Today's question of the week is, what makes a person good or bad? Let me know. Let me know how you feel about that. But yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. Let me know how you enjoyed it. I don't know if the commentary this time is that great. I've been thinking about this. I restarted this whole entire recording at one point because I just thought, I was like, I don't know if I like how this turned out. Maybe I shouldn't do that in the future though. Maybe I should just stick with what I say at the the first. But yeah. If you have a letter to send me, I greatly appreciate it. Matter of fact, every time I see one, it makes me so happy. Um, and if you want to have your stuff read out on the video, then send me an email. It's going to be in the pinned comment. I also set up a Google Forms, so that's also going to be in the pinned comment and the description. You can find the email to send submissions to, not subscriptions. You can send submissions to my email, and you'll find it in the pinned comment, description, and the bio on YouTube on my channel. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you all. And I'm the Weekly Reload, and I'll see you next week.
Gungeon wing to whisper one truth. Body the floor, bullet the roof. Ammo will it pass, killing gunshot shoot. Non-stop hammer, hard, violent man.